Guys, I got an exciting one today. I have a unicorn from Patek Philippe, actually a unicorn and a semi-unicorn. I got a really cool Richard Mille along with a bunch of other Pateks, so stay tuned. We got a live one for you today, a couple of special things, a unicorn from Patek Philippe, some APs, Richard Mille, Rolex, the usual stuff, so stay tuned. No, stay tuned. We're here, we're live, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna start with a 5905 green dial. This watch is actually sealed. Which you rarely get from Patek Philippe today. So this watch came out of the gate very expensive as any other new Patek, especially one with a green dial. Came out around a time where the hype was super strong. All your Nautiluses and Aquanauts, along with many other popular Pateks, were trading through the roof. We know that all that stuff has since come down. So this thing came out of the gate, it was trading at around $135,000 to $145,000, and people were buying them up. Why? Because this is not a typical Patek. What this is your annual calendar chrono, right? Like the other 5905s, but it's on a steel bracelet. Anything stainless steel from Patek, everybody knows, it's collectible, it goes through the roof, it trades way over retail. And what they've done here is they actually finally did a good job on a bracelet. Like the older Aquanaut bracelets were really, really crappy. The only other decent bracelet was maybe a 5960 in stainless steel, but this, it's a large watch, it's a steel watch, and basically this is, if you think about it, the only alternative out there that's big, that's sporty to your Aquanauts and your Nautiluses, right? So that's why this thing was popular to begin with. Plus the green dial, we all know green dials fetch big money. This guy, this is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore limited edition. Can somebody give me I'm a Survivor? Like in a good high-pitched voice, anyone?
I'm a survivor.
Oh, that sucked. Jekka?
Yeah.
So this is the Offshore limited edition Survivor, but I've always loved this particular watch because it looks like a survivor's watch, if you will, right? It's very rugged. The black PVD, the crown guards, the way that they're done here as well. It's a cool looking watch. I feel like this is a watch you throw in your go bag along with an M16 and grenade launcher and something else and just go survive. Probably out of all the limited edition offshores, this is one of my favorites because it's just aesthetically, it's a beautiful watch. So a semi-unicorn from Patek. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna talk about those older discontinued Pateks versus new hype. So people are out there and they wanna get their hands on the 5711 Nautilus, right? The Grail watch, the plain Jane. But what they're sleeping on is the 3710. Post the 5711, they came out with the same exact Nautilus, plain Jane, with the exception of this little thing up here, right? And that is the power reserve indicator. So the power reserve indicator on this watch, it actually moves around the dial. The power reserve indicator on this watch tells you how much power reserve the movement has, how much strength is left in the mainspring once you wind the watch. With that said, you'll notice this will change as I wind the watch. Showing you, how much juice is actually left in my watch. Now, it's actually one of the more useful functions, because if you think about it, who uses a chronograph or a stopwatch on their watch? Not a lot of people. A power reserve indicator is actually really cool to know, how much juice does my watch actually have? Do I need to wind it, etc.? And people have slept on these. I have owned this watch. We're going back probably to the beginning of my career. As cheap as $4,500. Today, this thing trades around $100,000. And when people tell me, I would rather have the 5711, again, 5711, they produce a ton more pieces than they did of the power reserve model. So if you're out there looking for a Nautilus, try to pick something up that's not something that's mass produced for many, many, many years. Let me do a couple of Rolexes while we're here. 41 millimeter Datejust chocolate. Again, Rolex introduced the Ruby in two-tone rose gold stainless steel, and they follow up with this guy, which I think is, at the price point this watch is a great alternative to that of a Rubier. It's a bit cheaper, but it still carries the same look. And I actually like the fact that they did the bezel smooth on this one. Rose gold smooth bezel with the chocolate dial. Chocolate dial, rose gold bezel is just a great combo. And I think that for the price these are trading at, which I have no idea, this is a good alternative to that of the Rubier because it's less expensive. Another Rolex. Oh look, it's another 41 millimeter Datejust, white dial, fluted bezel. Again, clean watch, sort of that entry, I want to say entry level, I would say, second to entry level watch. It carries a nice size. This is what I like most about it. This is a 41 millimeter Rolex, and look, it's a big watch, right? Again, I have my wrist on the smaller side, but this is a big watch. Here it is compared to my Longa. somebody always asks me, like, what's the one thing you love about Rolex? You can take this watch, throw it against the wall 10 times, swim in the ocean, scratch it against the pavement, and it will keep on ticking. And the service cost on a Rolex is probably the lowest out there. I think average Rolex service cost from Rolex is about $900. It's just super durable. They're still doing what they're meant to do. They're still that tool watch. They're still that most rugged watch that's out there. The Oyster case is still the iconic waterproof case, blah, 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 blah. So,
Marco's in the chat.
Oh, Marco, what's happening? Oh, okay, so that particular box with the links, these were actually links to this guy, the 5726 Nautilus. Actually, one of my more favorite modern Nautiluses because of, again, the dial, the way it sort of like a Vignette dial, right, where the color fades towards the middle. I think it's clean in terms of the annual calendar display. It's like very minimal, right? A lot of these annual calendars, you'll get a bunch of circles on the dial, etc., a bunch of indicator circles on the dial. But this, it's just, I like the way this is displayed. The month, the day, the moon phase. It's just, everything is just very compact with the date being on the bottom. And probably one of my more favorite. Very popular watch. Again, suffered the fate of Nautilus is coming down, but this one not so much. I think these are now around that low 100s from probably around mid 100s, right? So definitely have come down to earth enough to where we're starting to sell a lot more of them again. What is this, Cartier? Whenever you see the packaging, I should say, from Cartier is second to none. Maybe it's them being your jewelry house versus a watch house, although they're a watch powerhouse. But companies, take note, like this is super appealing. Like this is something like I would keep on my desk and put a notepad inside. You know what I mean? Like, and what we have here is a watch that actually took the market by storm quite a bit, and that was when they came out with the Santos Skeleton. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful watch done by Cartier with a reasonable retail tag price. I think these retail around 28 grand or something like that on the Skeletons. Yeah, you go around other companies, you look at any skeleton watch that's out there, you're paying an arm and a leg from any major manufacturer. So they took arguably the most iconic Cartier watch and they made it a skeleton, which is appealing to begin with. And what's cool is they give you a bunch of stuff with it. You get a blue rubber strap with it. Again, easy change system on Cartier. So the bracelet easily pops off and this pops back in. And they also give you a leather strap. So it's like a 3 for 1, right? Is that even a word? And and you get one of these Cartier loops, right? I could never do that. I know what this watch is, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably one of the prettiest ladies RMs out there. And that is the 007 RM pink ceramic. So this watch, especially on the pink strap, ladies, wear this for the weekend?
Yes.
These come with like different color dials. They come with red, which is, what's the word I'm looking for? Enamel dials, right? There's the Jasper dial. There's a couple different variations. Then there's also a combo of a enamel dial with diamonds around it. But the 07, let's say versus the 37, right? The two ladies models that they have, some of the ladies models that they have. The reason the 7 is more popular, not the 37, is because it's a lot more wearable. Because it's a no shape of this watch, they tend to be big up and down, right? So like even the 7, I'm gonna put it on again. I have a small wrist, but not that small, but see, it seemingly fits. The 37 is about that much bigger, and it wears a lot bigger. That's why it's like every 07 out there sells for overlist. Most 37s, most I say, are going to be at list and under, which is surprising for Richard Mille. But at the end of the day, ladies want to wear that stuff. When the watch is too big or bulky or uncomfortable, they're not going to. But I got to say that the white ceramic, is probably the prettiest ladies RM out there. And what we have here is a Rolex Skydweller yellow gold black dial on the Oyster Flex strap. Again, reference number? First of all, when they came out with the Skydweller, the first Skydweller they came out with was a gold Skydweller on a leather strap. Everybody was like, not buying it, same for me, right? And then they went on with the steel, the two tones, the full gold, etc., and Skydweller took off like a champ. Not sure why they decided to test the market out with a Skydweller coming out on the leather strap first, because they felt like this is the most complicated watch they make. This is the annual calendar as well. Maybe they felt that there was more of a dressier option, but all that time went by, all the other Skydwellers, and then they came out with this watch on, I mean, the only difference is this is a rubber strap versus a leather strap, and I think it made all the difference. And these have skyrocketed in popularity, and again, Skydwellers are holding pretty well. Yes, they did take a bit of a dump, especially on the gold models that kind of got out of hand, the ones on the bracelet, but for the most part, they didn't see as big of a hit as, let's say, a Platinum Daytona or or John Mayer. We have the sister, the stepchild of Rolex, i.e. two-door, not to be confused with a four-door. But you know what? At the price point that these things trade, and the look and the quality that you get with these watches, their quality is no less of Rolex. It's the same oyster case, it's the same durability, it's the same watch you can throw over your shoulder. Well, but won't. Again, it's an affordable way to put yourself into a durable, good, well-made watch from a reputable company. That's all it comes down to. You know, it's that tool watch that was meant to be more affordable than that of its predecessors, which is Rolex, because Rolex prices started climbing, and Rolex realized that, listen, we're losing out on that person that's going to go out there and pick this up as a tool watch. We're becoming that luxury product versus being a tool watch, you know, as the years went by. And they said, you know what, why not try two-door, give the same quality, but at a lower price point. But then, of course, they're going to have to come out with a third line because these are climbing up in prices just the same. Last but not least, I always promise you guys something special. Where's this condom from? I talked to you guys about the 5960s in stainless steel. I've told you numerous times these are sleepers. I buy up as many as I can, but very, very, very rarely do I come across a 5960, but with a black dial. So this is a unicorn of this unboxing, and the reason for that is because this watch was produced for less than a year with a black dial. The 5960 stainless steel, again, annual calendar chronograph, its predecessor, this first watch that came out was a 5960 platinum gray dial. Then they made it with a black dial, and they made one white gold with a blue dial and a white gold with a brown dial. They made a few variations of them, but they came out with the bracelet model with the white dial, and for a short amount of time they made it with a black dial. I don't know if that was specifically made for some different market. I don't have the details for that. If I did, I'd be lying, but I do know this was produced for less than a year in very, very limited quantities, which is why the price difference between a white dial and a black dial, especially for a complete set, you're looking at about a $50,000 price difference between the two. Let's call it $35,000 to $45,000 difference, because for those that know, and when I say the 5960 steel white dial, the regular version, is a sleeper, this is what's a very extreme way to say sleeper. Super sleeper. I don't know, like a very, very big sleeper. I have seen 3 of these in my lifetime, and the last one I saw, shout out to Rita from Dubai, I sold to a friend of his, but he really wanted the black dial. I went out there, actually sourced it. I didn't buy it. I went out and found one. It's been quite some time since I have bought this watch, and I won this in auction, actually. I bought it from an auction, and I will do it 10 times over, but I think we have 2, maybe even 3 5960s in stock now with the white dial. We have 2 white dials. I can have 3, 4, 5 of the white dials in stock at any given time. I can highly doubt I could have more than one of these in stock at a time. They're that rare. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you live. Thank you YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those great things you do to help our new channel grow. Bye.
Bye.